Okay, we are continuing in the Ma'amar, the Chassidic discourse in Kuntresim Aleph by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, blessed memory, that he said in 1929 when he was in land of Israel, visiting the land of Israel briefly. And it is a Ma'amar, it is discussing the temple. What it means that the temple was destroyed, but the third temple is going to be greater. And this is because of our services. We're the ones that are going to build it. How are we going to build it? It says in the Zohar clearly that God is going to build it, that it's already built, and it's somewhere in heaven or in some spiritual dimension, and that it's going to be miraculously appear. That's what it says in the book, the Zohar. And the book of the Zohar is a respected book of Judaism, of telling us what real reality is, the inside of the Torah. The soul of the Torah tells us that the third temple is already built and it's going to be manifested somehow or other by the Mashiach. Why? Because one of the jobs of the Mashiach is to bring all of the Jews back to their senses, to their Jewish senses, which is called, in Hebrew it's called Chozrim B'Tshuvah. Chozir, bring all the Jews back to their true Jewish identity, and all the Jews will start learning Torah and doing the commandments, and they'll start realizing what the Torah is. Says the Rebbe, that's the trick. Realizing what the Torah is. When you realize what the Torah is, namely that the Torah is the will and the wisdom of God right now. This is what God is thinking right now. This is what God wants right now. And learning the Torah with that attitude changes the whole world. Who would dream? Who would dream that that's the answer to the world's problems? Well, you want to solve the world's problems? There's hunger in the world. There's war in the world. There's hatred. What can cure all the problems of the world? Learning the Torah. But it has to be learning the Torah with a proper attitude. In the first temple and the second temple, Jews learned the Torah. Especially in the first temple, everybody knew the Torah. Same in the second temple, and they were learning the Torah, but they weren't learning the Torah with a proper attitude. What's the proper attitude for learning the Torah? That you're learning God's Torah. That you're doing yourself and the world a favor. You're allowing the Torah to conquer you, and not that you're conquering the Torah. The Torah is supposed to make you small, to make you feel that you're not there at all, that you're a big miracle. In fact, the whole world is a miracle. Oh, then everything turns around. Suddenly you're very important in God's eyes. That's what the Torah does. The Torah flips the whole thing around. And interestingly enough, if you learn in Chassidut, so it talks a lot about Kabbalistic ideas, a lot. And mostly where those Kabbalistic ideas are used is when Chassidut talks about the creation of the world and how God is creating the world constantly. And how God conceals his light. And there's what's called contractions and concealments. It's very, very complicated. Different levels of what's called the tzimtzum, and the first tzimtzum, and the afterwards. Tzimtzum means the contraction of God's light. God doesn't really contract himself. It's not really his light. It's just the revelation of his light. And then there's all these Kabbalistic ideas about the 10 hidden spheros and the Teferes HaNe'alam, and then you have Adam Kadmon and Erech Anpin and Atek Yomin and these levels of Keter and Tohu and Tikkun. Very, very complicated, right? And essentially what it is that the light of God becomes less and less and less and less and more and more concealed, so that you have less and less of even an idea what God is, or is, even if there is such a thing as God. And the angels perceive him differently. The angels that are far away, they burn up to God. And the other angels that are, they make a lot of noise, and the other ones, they silently burn. And the different levels of angels even in these different worlds, and the light of God gets less and less until finally you get down to this world. physical world, and there's absolutely no revelation of God at all. Exactly the opposite. In this world, all we feel is ourselves. So this is the lowest possible world that can be almost totally, what do you call it, bad, evil. This world. Everything in it is just selfish. And specifically in this world, the lowest world is where the Torah was given. And when a Jew learns the Torah, he flips everything around. So that all of a sudden this world becomes the place where there's going to be the raising of the dead, and this world is going to be the place where there's going to be the third temple, and this world is going to be the essence of God is going to be revealed higher than even it was before he began to create everything. God gets pleasure from this world. So this world, this physical world, if used properly, suddenly the whole entire business, it's explained so beautifully in such detail in Kabbalah, but in a more understandably to even normal people, that how low this world is. And Chassidus comes along and explains beautifully how low this world is, and that with one good deed, if learning Torah in the proper way, the whole thing turns around. The whole entire business turns around. That this world becomes suddenly from the lowest to the highest. But it just depends on learning Torah properly. Hine al zman galut, on this time that we are now. See, we're starting from the beginning of the line. Okay, with me? See the top line? Hine al zman galut, on this time of exile that we're in, of confusion. It says, Hayinu kacholmin. Right, since the temple was destroyed, in fact, the very destruction of the temple, that threw the Jews into what's called exile. What does it mean, exile? That they lose their identity, they lose their motivation, they lose their consciousness, right? They lose their senses, common senses. They think that what's bad is good and what's good is bad. Totally. Dahagalus nimsha lashina. That this time that we are now, this whole time that we're in exile, it's like being asleep. But what happens when you're asleep? Some people really like to be asleep. Some people like to sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. You go to sleep, you can dream all sorts of dreams. And if they're good dreams, wonderful. Hine zman abayat. The time that there was a holy temple, that was called Or V'yom, light and day. Right? A good thing about being asleep is that you're not responsible. Some people like to be sick. There's people that I knew people like that. They're what do they call it?
Sleep also heals.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sleep has definite benefit. Yeah, no doubt about it. That's why God made it. God made us to go to sleep. Sleep is a very good thing. It says if a person makes a vow, he's not going to sleep for 3 days, it's a false vow. They make him go to sleep.
So we have to use sleep in the right way.
Right. Most things in the world are good, but they have to be used in the proper way and in the proper measure. Overeating. Eating is wonderful. Overeating, terrible.
Souls don't like bodies that don't eat.
Putting on clothes, great. Putting on clothes, but overdoing it. You have to have, $2,000 shoes, and you have to, if you need it for your work, you have to have, $2,000 shoes. Okay, but if you have to have $2,000, then don't buy $5,000. Don't buy 20 pairs. Everything has its measure to it. In the time of exile, that's called galus. There is no measure. People don't know what exactly is right and what's wrong and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. The Ita b'Midrash Rabbah, it says in the Midrash Rabbah, Vayikra Elokim la'or yom, that God called to light, He called it day. What does it say in the Midrash? That's the sentence in the Torah. Elu ma'aseim shel tzaddikim. This, what we call light and we call day, these are the deeds of the tzaddikim, righteous people. Umahim ma'asem shel tzaddikim. What are these deeds of the tzaddikim? What exactly are? Let's get into details. It says in the Gemara in Ketuvos, Gadola Maisa Tzadikim and Maisa Shemayim V'Oretz. What the Tzadikim do, righteous Jews that are, they say, surrendered to the creator of the universe, who's creating them. That's greater than the heavens and the earth. It's greater accomplishment than when God created the heavens and the earth. Heavens and the earth are pretty amazing. Ask any astronomer. Tell you the heavens, they know the tip of the iceberg of what's going on in the universe, physical universe. Ukamasa tzadikim, it says Mikdash Hashem konanu yodecha. By the heavens and the earth, it says that, by the heavens and the earth, it says that God made it with one hand. Ubamaisa tzadikim, it says Mikdash Hashem konanu yodecha, your hands. Maisa tzadikim is binyan, Mikdash is talking about the base of Mikdash. That God made with, that's what it says in the Midrash there. God made the heavens and the, Nata Shamayim, Nata Yaminu Bora Shamayim, that God created the heavens and the earth with one hand. With two hands He created the base of Mikdash. You have to see exactly the quote. It says, God made the holy temple, and it says by the holy temple, Asu li Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. In the heavens and the earth, God does not dwell in the heavens and the earth. He conceals Himself. That's how He created the heavens and the earth. By the holy temple, it says, Asu li Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Make me a holy temple, and I will dwell in them. You make me a holy temple, and God dwells inside of every Jew. B'tocho lo ne'amar, ela b'tocham b'toch kol echad v'echad. As soon as they made the holy temple, God began dwelling inside of each and every Jew for eternity. The kol echad ve'echad, that each and every Jew, yihiyeh mocho v'libo, his heart and his brain and his heart, machon, can be a home, l'shivto yitbarech, for God's presence. You are a holy temple. And it's true, when you built the holy temple, there was a building in Jerusalem, and we have to pray in that direction. You know, you ever hear that? When you're praying, you're supposed to pray always in the direction of the holy temple. If you're in Jerusalem, you have to ask people, right? You're supposed to pray in the direction of Jerusalem in general. But what if you're in Jerusalem? Where do you pray? You go and ask somebody, where is Jerusalem? You have to pray toward the holy temple, which is the direction of the holy temple. Right? If you're standing in the back of the holy temple, you have to turn around. If you're standing in the front, V'zehu gedolim ma'aseh tzadikim. That's what it means. Great are the deeds of the tzadikim. Te'inyanam hu la'orer et Yisrael, because the whole job of the tzadikim is to arouse the Jews. L'shabed, to link, attach, mocham v'libam, their brains and their hearts, la'avodato yitborech, to God's service in Torah and mitzvahs. Every Jew is a holy temple. How could you believe that? Every Jew is a holy temple. Right? Look at the Jews in the world. You see, every Jew is a holy temple. Who believed in such a thing like that? I heard that somebody just told me the other day that when we won the 6-Day War, so Jews flocked to the wall. The Jews didn't have access to the wall for hundreds of years. I don't know how long. They couldn't go to the wall. And when we won the 6-Day Wars, we had access to the wall. I don't know, maybe they had access to the wall, but could be...
I think there was something around 48 or something. There was a war.
No, 48 was the War of Independence.
No, then right after that, there was...
I think that before that, the individuals could go, but it was dangerous. It was not so simple to go there all the time because it was totally controlled by the Arabs. It was controlled by the Arabs. And then, when in 48, that's right, the Jordanians, they took over Jerusalem, and that part still remained in their hands, right, in Jerusalem, that's right. So it was not hundreds of years. But anyways, Jews, free access to the wall, they didn't have for a long time, but they could go. You could go. It was fraught with danger, but they could go. But when we won the 6-Day War, it was 68, so then Jews flocked to the Holy Temple. They flocked to the wall, and there were a lot of non-religious Jews. A lot of non-religious Jews, to the point that there were a lot of Jews there that put on tefillin for the first time. And Chabad went and they provided people to put on tefillin. They said even the Ger Rebbe sent his Chassidim, to put tefillin on Jews. They say that there was a great rabbi, I heard his name was Rabbi Auerbach. That's what I heard. And he went also went to the Kotel, and he saw Chabad boys, men, every able-bodied man was there putting tefillin on others. And he said, all of us religious Jews, we believe in God. He says, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's the only one that believes in Jews. And it was every single Jew is a holy temple. Right? You believe in God, God exists, God creates the world, you pray to God. He says, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he believes in every Jew. Here's what the Rebbe is saying. Why believe in every Jew? Because every Jew is a holy temple. Every Jew, without exception. What is a holy temple? A holy temple is a building made of regular bricks. They're not magic, kryptonite bricks that come from another planet or some sort of, mystically blessed or something. They're not regular bricks. There was laws on how they had to be made, but they were regular bricks, normal bricks, stones. And but in them was revealed the essence of God. I don't remember if I told you the story, but about Motegur, the general, that he touched the stones. I told you this. Yeah, I was yesterday. I was on this sort of television program that they have. It's called 24 News. It's on the internet, and they interviewed me about the destruction of the temple. So I said, to bring across the point that there can be such a thing as rocks that are holy, a building that is holy, and this affects you, and all the Jews will come as soon as the temple is built. All the Jews will flock to Israel in order to do all the commandments in the holy temple. So I saw it was wasn't really ringing. Suddenly I remembered this story, and the story was that when they in the 6-Day War, when they conquered Jerusalem, so the head of the forces was a general called Motegur. And Motegur, he was the one that he said, Hakotel b'yadenu, said the wall is in our hands. Right after that, though, he said something else. And he said that the first time I heard this, I burst out crying. He said, and yesterday when I said it on the television, I also started to cry. I'm not really crying, but I couldn't continue talking. I was all choked up. He said, first of all, he said, the kotel is in our hands. Then he said, he was reporting directly, radio, he was reporting directly from said, I'm not a religious man. Maybe there was a newspaper reporter there, but he said, I'm not a religious man. I ish ma'amin. I'm not a man that believes in God. I never was. He said, but I'm nogea b'avnei hakotel v'ani mitragesh. He says, I'm touching the stones of the wall and I'm overcome with emotion. Right? And in Hebrew it comes out better than in English. He says, Ani nogea b'avnei hakotel v'ani mitragesh. I mean, it was obviously so emotional that it was worth him to say. It was overcome with emotion. What did he do? He touched the stone. And this person is a general. And he's a hard-hearted general, and they just took why didn't he cry before when they took he touched the stones, and he was overcome with emotion because there's holiness in these stones. And that's what every Jew is. Every Jew is a holy temple, and there's holiness just even in the body, the physical body of a Jew. That's what it means, make me a temple, and I will dwell inside of each and every Jew. That's what it means, great are the deeds of the righteous Jews. Turn it on. Zeu gadol ma'aseh tzaddikim, and that's what it means that the deeds of the righteous Jews are so great, even greater than the heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth conceal God. The inyanam, see where we are, first word in line is gadolim. The inyanam hu la'orer et Yisrael. The whole idea, the whole purpose, and the how do you say, the responsibility. A tzaddik feels responsible for all the Jews to arouse them, l'shabed mocham v'libam la'avodat Hashem Torah v'mitzvos, to link their mind and their hearts to God's Torah and His commandments. V'zeu the mikdash nikra or. That's why the holy temple is called light and it's called day. V'hagalud nikra laila, and the exile is called night. V'nimshal l'shina, it's like being asleep. Hine be'et shina, at the time of sleep, hariyachayot mistalek, your life force goes away. Umitalem be'etzem nefesh, and goes back to the essence of your soul. What happens when a person goes to sleep? An operation. Operate on a person. So they put the person to sleep. What happens, here it is, it's that he's the person, and they're operating on him, they're trying to save him. This is the person, but he doesn't feel anything, and he doesn't see anything, and he doesn't hear anything, he's not aware of anything. Right? Where is he? He's asleep. Right? Where did he go? His consciousness went away. So maybe if he's conscious, maybe he's not alive. So no, it's there. It's just sort of hidden in his soul. It's sort of hard to explain what exactly it is. Says the Rebbe, I'll explain what it is. Your consciousness, your soul, has different levels of revelation. When a person is asleep, the outer levels retreat back into the inner levels. Okay, you can do that later. What's wrong? Okay, later. Do it later. Do it later. You'll do it later. You'll do it later. Don't worry. Sit down. Sit down. You'll do it later. 100%. I have to call up that Benjamin also and see. V'nish'ar rak kista d'chiyusa bilvad. When a person goes to sleep, there remains only a small amount of life. Lochein, therefore, hine gam akochot v'chushim. Therefore, all of his abilities, his talents, his personality, and his senses, mitalmimaz, they go away when a person is asleep. There's the thieves that they break into a person's house, they spray something on him, make the person go, this is what I heard. The person goes to sleep, and then they steal the deeper sleep, and they just steal everything there is in the person's house, everything the person worked for. If he would be at the least bit awake, he would start screaming and yelling, he would fight them, and here he's just sleeping calmly, completely unaware of what's going on. And it's him, it's the person himself, and he's the one that made the money. But when he goes to sleep, suddenly he doesn't feel any identity of who he is. He doesn't feel it's me, it's my money, it's my house, it's my... Hagam the Adam Yashan, even though that a person that is asleep, who kachai l'chol davar, he's alive in every way. You can't kill a person that's asleep. You can't say, well, listen, he's already asleep, so it's no big deal to kill him. They're concealed. And there only remains just a little ray of life. When a person is asleep, there's another additional thing. Not only does he lose consciousness, but he dreams. Weird thing called dreams. The bechalom hariboim shnei afachim. That in dreams there comes two opposites. Benose echad, and they can be at the same time. Ad sheyochel liot hayesod shel davar o shel binyan asher ro'ah hu yesod emet. It could be that a person sees something that's based on truth, right? He sees that he's building a building, that he's doing work, he's driving his car. And suddenly he's driving his car and he's talking to people, and suddenly he looks out the window and he sees that he's on the moon or in the sky, or he's in his front bedroom. Right? He's driving his car, and on this side things are whizzing by. Over here he sees here's his mother and father sitting there and he's talking to them. And right, the time is all confused. He sees things now that happened 20, 50 years ago. Can you imagine? That's what a dream is. A dream is mashamarkiv beisin yanim avchim, that you join two opposites. Echad emet ve'echad shecher. One is true and the other one's a lie. V'shneim nirim ke'echad, and they both seem to be the same. Right? You're talking to your mother, and all of a sudden you're talking to your father at the same time. You're talking to the president, and suddenly the person you were talking to was pirates and right, men from outer space. Everything is confused in a dream, but everything seems real. You're not surprised by anything. Shadugma mizeh yuvan ba'avoda. This we can understand also from our service of God. What do you mean service of God? You can have a religious person, and he believes in God, and he's praying to God, and he prepared himself to pray to God, and he's thinking about how God creates me, and how good God is, and how wonderful God is, and he really gets excited about it. He really gets emotional. Like you say, people go to the wall, and they cry, feel God. Ubashat tefillah, and at the same time, he's praying, Harihu masur v'naton b'mocho b'inyani. I'm sorry, this is the continuation. And the time when he's praying, he's totally devoted to what's written in the Siddur. Every word becomes alive to him. Every word is real. The Techillah call that in the beginning, first of all, Hari Yodea, he knows, Klalot, Lifnei Mi, Hu Omed. He's standing and he's praying and he knows who he's praying to. V'avodat tefillah, the whole idea of prayer is what? Yesh b'zeh kama chilukim madregas. There's a lot of levels of prayer. Prayer is supposed to be that your heart gets aroused. Yesh namachoshvim rak perush hamilah. Some people, they pray bare minimum. What's the bare minimum of prayer? You know the meaning of the words.
You just say the words.
Just saying the words is not. Listen, some people look at prayer as it's this religious, ritual. And there's a lot of people that they like to be religious. They like religion. They have a spiritual feeling, and you're devoted to something higher than yourself.
Connected to a community.
That's another thing. That's another thing. But yes, I'm just talking about religion. Some people, they like to be religious. 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, all day, right? They like to be religious. They like to do the rituals. They like to do this. They want to be, part of like you say, part of a group, part of a religious group. Not just politics or something like that. They enjoy the idea of,
Doing something that other people are doing.
But even more, to do something that's somehow or other spiritual a little bit. Right? I'm different from everybody else. I am praying, I am religious, I am very... Some people take this to extremes. They don't talk to anybody who's not exactly like them, but they don't really understand what they're doing. And they don't really care to understand. They're just doing something, this is what you do, and they do it. What it says in the Shulchan Aruch, this, you don't do that, you can't do, right? This you must do, and this you can't do, and this you have to do. But when it comes to something emotional, they just cut it off. Emotions are bad. You don't get emotional. You just do the rituals. You do what you're supposed to do. When do they get emotional? A lot of times, to hate somebody. They get emotional, right? That person is not like me. He's threatening my stability, my little castle that I've built. He gets emotional. So that's not really even praying. We're talking about what is really praying. Praying means the person believes in God, and he knows the words, what he's saying. Doesn't necessarily have any connection one with the other. But he believes in God, and he understands what the words are. Never really thinks about them. But he knows what they are, he knows the meaning. Right? So it's not just he's part of a ritual. He really believes in God, and he wants to give God something. And he,
What about these guys that you have, like from America, they really, they pray in Hebrew, but they really don't know what the words are. They recite the prayers in Hebrew.
That's like a lower version of that. Lower version of that. I remember, let's take myself, right?
I know you've taught this.
When I started becoming religious, so, I did everything that everybody told me. Whatever everybody said, they did. I realized that my whole way of looking at things was really wrong. So anything everybody told me, I did. So then it came to prayer. So I realized, first of all, it took me a long time to learn to read. I had just to read the words, even though I had known it at some aleph base, I knew, but so then I got into that. I could say. Then I decided, pretty early. I decided, so I got to know the meaning of the words. This is ridiculous. I'm just saying the words. So I went word by word and I translated in the siddur. I went to translate. So I knew that I was saying. And then in Shemona Esrei also, you know what you're saying. Now, if you know what you're saying in Shemona Esrei, you know what the words mean, it's pretty meaningless, It's pretty meaningless. Et tzemach David abdecha meheret atzmiach. The scion of David should hurriedly grow. Okay, I'll say it. The scion of David should hurriedly grow. Who's the scion of, what is the scion? Whatever.
Scion.
S-C-I-O-N. What's it called?
Scion. That's.
Scion is it called?
Scion. I think it's.
Scion, scion, whatever it is.
It's like
the offspring. Who knows? It's a word that nobody uses. And
it's used. It's a real word.
Scion, I never heard it used.
C-I-O-N.
Right.
That's like the crown prince of the king.
Okay, could be. The simple meaning of this means the offspring of David, the Mashiach, who's going to come from David, right? Special offspring of King David. It's written in the Siddur, but who knows what it means? I have never heard it personally.
It's a good word.
Ever.
It's a good word.
Good. Okay, you use it. Anyway, it's in there. You read, so you know the meanings of the words, and you say the meanings of the words, and it doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't mean anything to you, but you say it. So let's go. Yonah, come. What is prayer? Prayer, first of all, he knows the meaning of the words, bilavad. And some of them even think about what the words, not the translation of the words, but what they really mean. You want to be with us, please. First word in line is perush, P with a little dash after it. Ubazeh gufo kama chilukim madregas. There's a lot of different levels of prayer. Im choshev. Because prayer, like I say, is supposed to be, your heart is supposed to get aroused. Your heart can only be aroused if there's something there, something meaningful, some ideas. Shechoshev rak hamuskal bazeh. Then it can be that a person really understands the meaning of the words and the meaning of the sentences, and he understands the meaning. He can explain the meaning. Al pi seichel bilvad, intellectually alone. O shu al pi hergesh eloki, or sometimes he feels a godly feeling in this. Like you say, this man who went to the kotel, he feels a godly feeling. What's it? V'yesh mi the call avodasahu b'devekos inyan. And sometimes a person could just get one idea of prayer and feel the godliness in it and become clinging to God. Right? You ever see people that they're watching sports, how interested they are, right? In the sports, tremendously interested. So some people can be that interested in the godliness. He's talking about God that's creating me. God is creating me. He really gets into it. That he thinks deeply. He thinks that this God who's creating me, this is not just he's creating me, I'm the end of the line. Think of where this God is in himself before he was creating me. How good God is. He's creating the whole world. Ooh, this is amazing. What is God himself then? Wow, that he's creating me, that's just sort of small change. Maybe it makes it personal. But think about what God is himself. How amazing it is. Hainu, milamaila lamata, from above to below. Think about how great God is. Not what God does for me, from below to above. What God is himself before he created me, before he created the world. For instance, in the Psalms of King David that we say before Baruch Hu, Ba'amirat boruch she'amar v'ho'y olam. When you say the words, blessed is the one who spoke and created the world. Hariya kavana peshuta, the simple meaning is, di'itavu ta'olam, that the creation of all of the worlds is, right now, by means of just God's speech. Ubasara ma'amoros, in 10 utterances, God created the world. And he didn't have to work. He didn't have to put out any effort. Borei Elokim, God created and he creates the entire world. Ki'im b'mamar, he just creates it all by his one word and the breath of his mouth. When you start thinking about this and you think, wow, the world is so big. Think how I go crazy just if, I'm missing 100 shekels from my wallet. Something wallet, or my whole wallet. Ooh, my whole wallet is good. Go on, think about, or somebody says something bad about me, or I hear somebody talking bad about me. Whoa, I'm depressed for weeks, right? How can it possibly be? He talks to me, he said I'm ugly, I have the worst thing in the world. I'm not ugly, I am, right? He thinks, somebody in the world just said something to me, right? I go out and I forgot my keys in my house. I got to go back. I'm such a loser. I'm so terrible. It's just the world. It's just the world. The world gets you down so much. As if the world is so real that it has such an effect. Think about the creator of the world. There is such a thing, the creator of the world. Like it says, "B'davar Hashem shemayim nasu." This whole world that you're so interested in is created just by one letter of God's name. God's word is considered deed. So think about what God is himself. That's a simple meaning. The that the whole entire creation, all the upper worlds, that's why in Chassidut Chabad we learn ideas of Kabbalah. And these the worlds, the upper worlds, Atzilus, Bria, you should know, they're also just creations of Hashem. That's also just peanuts. But it's impossible just to, a person sees an angel, he goes crazy. Like it says, Ki bayit, Ki biyud ke, Hashem tzur olamim. Please be with us, Yonah, please. First word in line is Havaya. It is 7 lines from the bottom of the page. Havaya, 10 lines maybe. That with just the letters of Yud and the letter Hey, God created the worlds. Omer Razal, the rabbis say, in Yud, God created the world to come, the upper worlds. But Hey, God created Olam Hazeh, this whole world. Olam Haba, Olam Hazeh means all the spiritual worlds and the physical worlds. This is the entire Hishtalshlus, the entire chain of creation. From the highest of the highest levels, above the spiritual, Ad Sof Dargos, until the lowest levels, all of this is created from 2 letters of God's name. The Gam Adam. Think about this. When you think about this, then you start to pray properly. Adam, a person, Shehu Nivra, Umugbal, a person that he's just a creation and he's very, very limited. Hari Beit Otiot Eno Tovsim Makom Klal Lagabe. A person, 2 letters of a person that he speaks in his life. Right? Let's say I say to you, okay, now I'm giving you a quiz. The prize is $1 million. Here is putting it on the table, here's the $1 million. I'm going to give you a little hint, and I want you to tell me something about this person that's making this sound. How tall he is, how intelligent he is, what country he comes from, what's his age, what's his interests, what's his name, and his mother's name. Okay, ready? Here's the hint. What? Want me to play it again? I'll let you hear it 10 times. Okay? Ready? Yes.
Oh, he's 38 years old. He's got black hair.
Right. Says, well, you get another guess. We'll try it again.
Driver's license.
Right. What can you possibly tell about a person from that? That's ridiculous. Okay, we'll raise the ante. I see you're not trying hard enough. Maybe the impetus is not enough. We'll make it $2 million. Okay, now listen.
I had 2 breakfasts for breakfast.
Says, how can you possibly know anything? Says the Rebbe, this whole entire universe was created from one letter of God. Now from that, this whole universe, can you tell anything about the Creator? Can you say anything about the Creator whatsoever? And this is talking about a human being, and a syllable that he says, these are two physical things. By the Creator, we're talking about one letter. He creates the spiritual and the physical, and everything together. It's just to him like one little letter. It's like a little nothing, right? So if so, can you tell what the Creator is? Well, one thing you can tell from that is the Creator is something just fantastic, and He's creating me. That should get you really excited, right? How much more so in case if one letter that a person speaks says nothing about that person's personality or who he is, how much more so by God? One letter tells you nothing about God. So the whole world is created from, the whole world is like nothing for God. This can be understood very well. The truth is that really it's not just one word, but one thought. God created all the worlds. And a thought is a machshava hakduma da'ak, is what is called in Kabbalah, the first thought of Adam Kadmon. It's a Kabbalistic level. Shehu ratzon kololi, this is a general will of God on the whole entire creation of the world. First, highest level of what's called the chain of creation. The ratzon zeh ein gilui ratzon. This is not revealed, God's revealed will. This is just one thought. Now, what's the Rebbe going to get to the point here? Let's see, one second. Let me see where he goes up to.
There's 3 more lines in this paragraph. And that'll...
Yes. What the Rebbe wants to get the point is that you can think about all this. You can get tremendously inspired. And the next second, you're doing something totally opposite. Judaism. Common sense. That's what it means we're dreamers. We'll see. The ratzon ze eno gile ratzon. This first will of God, that from which all the world was created, this is not even God's revealed will. This is machshava v'haskama bilavad. This is what they call God's original plan. Like it says in the Zohar, kad salik bereuto, when it rose up in God's will, lemivra alma, to create the world. Umafarish be'etz chaim, and it's explained in the book by the Arizal, Kabbalah book, the zeu machshava da'ak. This is what's called the first thought of this Kabbalistic level, which is called Adam Kadmon. Ta'alei idmar, that it says Kora adoros mirosh, that God saw everything that was going to happen in the beginning, from the beginning. Like the seed of creation. Like a seed contains inside of it the tree and all the fruits and all the trees that will come out of those fruits, right? The seeds that will come out, the trees that will come out of the fruits, etc., from one little seed. That's what Ak is, Adam Kadmon. It contains in it all of the deeds and everything that's going to happen, the whole entire creation. In this, all of the worlds are looked at once. Let's just do a couple more lines. Be with us, Yonah. The last line on the page. Hine. Kol zebis bonus kalolis. This is in a general way of thinking. Hitavut. This is in a hitavut, in the general creation of the world. That the whole entire world, all the universe that you think is so important, it's only one thought. And in this mitzad makablin, hainu ba'orein sof, which is after the tzimtzum. This is orein sof, which is after what's called the first contraction, God hiding Himself. Adam Kadmon is the highest level after this, what's called the first contraction of godliness that God made in order to create the world. V'yesh misha mitbonen b'kololas hitavut echshu mitzad hamashpia. It's possible to think of how the creation of the world is before it was created, from God's point of view, not from the world's point of view. Hainu be'orein sof shalivnei tzimtzum, godliness which is before He contracted Himself. Like we say when we pray, Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzur nivra. that God was a king before anything was created. And some people can think about this, like we say, Yachid, Chei Ha'olamim Melech. We say this in Bruch Shamar, on the end of Bruch Shamar. Yachid, Chei Ha'olamim Melech. Meshubach, Yachid, God is alone. And to make the world, he became a king. It's a low level of godliness that God made a king. This is the highest level of all creation. And now the Rebbe wants to say, and we'll have to continue with this next week, that a person, we're dreamers. What is it when we're dreamers? You can think of all this and get excited. And it's the job of a human being, every human being, to think about God. It says when Mashiach comes, all people only want to be interested in God. Now people are interested in making a living, getting food for their family, or having pleasures, or making money. People are interested in all sorts of things. And the future says Mashiach will bring about a situation in the world that there's going to be plenty. There won't be any more need. There won't be any more. And what will people be interested in? Where is all this coming from? It's coming from God. Ooh, God. People will be thinking about God all the time. That's the way people are supposed to be. That's what a human being, an animal can't do that. An animal thinks about itself. People will be thinking about the creator of the universe that's creating them, to be linking to something higher. Nowadays they have all these seminars and things like that for people to think about values. In business now you have to make a mission statement, right? The purpose of business is no longer just to make money. There has to be a certain degree of honesty. There has to be don't pollute the surroundings. Right? Principles. People stop thinking about, if you have principles, you stop feeling selfish. Ideally, sometimes the principles themselves are, you have Stalin, Hitler stood up with their principles, like communism and this, with principles killed millions of people. But ideally, a human being is made for principles, for something higher than himself, to live for something other than himself. To have a goal, to do something, to have a purpose, a meaning. That's what this person is supposed to do. That's the idea. It says the Jews, they're supposed to be the big example. Their purpose is they think about the Creator, how amazing the Creator is, the fact that God is the Creator, in a way that's the lowest aspect of God that there is, that we can conceive of. And when a Jew actually does this, he gets all emotional. And that's the idea of prayer. You're offering up your heart. You get excited about God. It's like a sacrifice, right? A sacrifice. And as soon as he finishes, all of a sudden, right? Did you hear? Amalgamated hubcaps fell 15 points. Sell. Where's my, right? Right. You told me it was going to go up. I'm going to be down in the office. What happened, right? Somebody scratched his car. He's driving.
Just finished my last way.
He goes berserk. He goes wild, right? How could it possibly be? Who would do a thing like that? Who? I'll tell you who. Me. It should only be that I get to the first level. But without the first level, a little bit. Let's say you think about God. All of a sudden, what happens? The world shakes you up. And the thing is, if you were told, listen, something's going to happen now that's going to try to make you angry. Don't get angry. Then you could do it. Somebody knocks into your car, some of this, you come out, you find that, got 2 flat tires. If someone would tell you before, and listen, something's going to happen now that's going to test you to see if you're angry. It's a sin to be angry, right? Oh, yeah, sin. It's like idolatry. Yeah, idolatry. So now God is going to send you a test to see if you're going to get angry. Are you going to get angry? No way, I'm not going to get angry. And you go out, and sure enough, you don't get angry. This guy cuts me off. I know it's a test from God. The problem is it happens quick. Oop. Right? I thought it was going to be only one test. All of a sudden. So says the Rebbe, that's because we're dreamers. We're sleeping. We're not aware. If you would really be aware of the reality of God and how big a miracle every moment is and how good it is, then you would never get mad. But we're in exile. That's what exile is.